I'm 78 years old, and today I want to tell you something I wish someone had told me when I was young. I spent nearly 60 years of my life trying to be the perfect woman. I thought perfection was the goal. I thought it would bring love, peace, respect, and security. But now, standing at this age, with more memories behind me than time ahead, I can say this clearly and honestly: trying to be perfect cost me my life, from the time I was a girl. I was taught quietly and loudly that a good woman sacrifices. She keeps everyone happy. She doesn't complain. She doesn't ask for too much. She puts her dreams on a shelf and tells herself she'll come back to them someday. I believed that being patient, agreeable, selfless, and endlessly understanding was not just a virtue, but my duty, and so I learned to smile when I was tired, to say it's okay when it wasn't, and to swallow my feelings because good. Women don't make trouble. I became very good at it. I was the perfect daughter who didn't argue, the perfect wife who adjusted, the perfect mother who gave everything. The perfect employee who never said no. On the outside, people praised me. They called me strong, reliable, admirable, but inside, something slowly disappeared. That something was me. I postponed my dreams so many times that eventually I forgot what they were. I told myself, later, when the children grow up, later, when things are more stable, later, when everyone else is settled, but later kept moving further away, until one day I woke up and realized my youth was gone, my energy was gone, and my chance to choose myself had quietly slipped through my fingers. I thought love meant endurance. I thought loyalty meant silence. I thought being a good woman meant accepting less than I deserved, so I stayed in situations longer than I should have. I forgave things that should not have been repeated. I tolerated disrespect because I didn't want to seem difficult. And every time I ignored my own needs, I taught the world that my needs didn't matter. No one tells young women this, but constantly shrinking yourself does not make you noble, it makes you invisible. Over time, people stop asking what you want because you've trained them to believe you don't want anything. They stop listening because you've trained them to believe you'll adjust anyway. And one day, you realize you've become a background character in your own life. I also believed that being perfect would protect me from regret, that if I did everything right, I wouldn't feel bitterness later. I was wrong. Regret doesn't come from mistakes alone. It comes from self-abandonment. It comes from the words you never said, the boundaries you never set, and the life you never allowed yourself to live. At 78, I don't regret loving deeply. I don't regret caring. But I deeply regret not caring for myself with the same devotion. I regret not resting when I was exhausted. I regret not speaking up when my heart was heavy. I regret not choosing joy just because it made me happy, without needing permission or justification. Here is the truth I've learned too late but want you to know now: you do not owe perfection to anyone. You do not owe silence, sacrifice, or suffering in exchange for love. Being a good woman does not mean being a smaller woman. It does not mean carrying everyone else while neglecting your own soul. Life is not a reward given at the end for good behavior. It is happening now, and every year you spend trying to be what others expect is a year you cannot get back. People will adjust to your boundaries faster than you think. And those who don't were benefiting from you having none. If you are younger than me and listening to this, please hear me clearly. Say no without guilt, rest without apology, dream without waiting for approval, speak even if your voice shakes. Choose yourself before resentment chooses you. Love others, yes, but not at the cost of your identity, your health, or your joy. Perfection is a trap. It keeps women busy proving their worth instead of living their lives. You were not born to be perfect. You were born to be alive, to feel deeply, to grow, to change, to take up space. I am 78, and I cannot go back, but you still can. Please don't wait as long as I did to give yourself permission to live. When you spend your life trying to be perfect, you slowly learn how to leave yourself behind. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, quiet ways that feel harmless at first. You ignore your tiredness because someone else needs you. You swallow your opinion to avoid conflict. You tell yourself your feelings can wait. Over time, this becomes normal. You stop checking in with yourself and start measuring your worth by how comfortable, pleased, or satisfied everyone else feels. That is how perfection trains you to abandon yourself. Perfection demands constant self-monitoring. You are always asking, am I doing enough? Am I being good enough? Am I upsetting anyone? And while you are busy managing everyone else's expectations, no one is managing yours, not even you. Your body learns to stay tense. Your mind learns to stay alert. Your heart learns to stay quiet. You become very skilled at functioning and very bad at feeling. The tragedy is that the world praises this. People call you strong, dependable, admirable, while no one notices how empty or exhausted you feel inside. As the years pass, you lose the ability to recognize your own desires. When someone asks what you want, your mind goes blank, not because you don't have wants, but because you trained yourself to ignore them for so long. You become disconnected from joy because joy requires presence, honesty, and permission, and perfection allows none of those. It only allows duty. Abandoning yourself also means betraying your instincts. You sense when something is wrong, when a boundary has been crossed, when a situation is draining you, but you override that inner voice to maintain the image of being good. Each time you do this, the voice grows quieter. Eventually, you stop trusting yourself altogether and rely on approval from others to tell you whether you are okay. The cruelest part is that perfection promises safety. It tells you that if you do everything right, you will be loved, protected, and valued. But love that requires you to disappear is not love, it is control. And safety that costs you your identity is not safety, it is slow erasure. True self-respect begins when you stop performing and start listening inward. When you allow yourself to be human instead of perfect, you come back home to yourself, and that return is not selfish, it is necessary for a life that actually feels like yours. When you sacrifice constantly without setting boundaries, you slowly become invisible in your own life. At first, it feels noble. You help everyone. You adjust to their needs. You give your time, energy, and love freely. You think this is what makes you valuable, what makes you loved, and what makes you a good woman. But over time, people stop noticing the effort because it becomes expected. They stop asking what you want because they have learned that your needs are always secondary. You are present for everyone else, but you are absent for yourself. Sacrifice without limits teaches others that your life exists to serve theirs, and your own desires become invisible even to you. Boundaries are not walls, they are the lines that define who you are and what you will allow in your life. Without them, your generosity becomes exhaustion. You begin saying yes when you want to say no. You continue to care for people who drain you, simply because you have never told them that your time and energy are finite. Each compromise chips away at your identity. Over time, you no longer remember what brings you joy, what makes your heart feel alive, or even what you truly need. You've been giving so much that your own existence feels like background noise in the lives of the people you care about. Sacrifice without boundaries doesn't just affect your relationships, it affects your health and well-being. Your body grows tired from overwork, your mind becomes clouded from constant worry, and your spirit slowly deflates from the lack of acknowledgement. People admire your endurance, but admiration is not love. People depend on your availability, but dependence is not appreciation, and because you never assert your limits, resentment quietly grows. You may smile and appear patient, but inside, frustration and sadness are building. Layer upon layer, the invisible life of endless sacrifice also teaches you to tolerate what you shouldn't. You accept behaviors, situations, or relationships that harm you. Because you've been conditioned to believe that giving endlessly is a virtue. Over time, you stop recognizing when enough is enough. You forget that your presence, your time, and your heart have value simply because they belong to you. Learning to set boundaries is not selfish, it is survival. It is a declaration that your life matters just as much as anyone else's. When you stop sacrificing endlessly and start protecting your own needs, you return to yourself. You become seen, respected, and fully alive in your own story rather than merely a supporting character in someone else's. Sacrifice without boundaries steals your identity. Boundaries give it back. When you constantly wait for later, you give away the very years meant for living. At first, it seems reasonable. You tell yourself, I'll pursue my dreams when the children are grown. I'll rest when work slows down. Or I'll follow my heart when circumstances are perfect. Later sounds safe, patient, responsible. But later is a trickster. It moves forward silently while you stay in the same place, waiting for conditions that may never come. The years pass. Your energy fades, and the dreams that once excited you feel more distant with each passing season. Waiting for later teaches you to compromise your life for perfection of timing, yet perfect timing rarely exists. Life is messy, unpredictable, and full of demands from others. If you are always waiting, your desires will constantly be postponed. You put off travel, hobbies, education, friendships, even love. Telling yourself that one day you will have time, resources, or freedom. That one day rarely arrives, because as long as you are waiting, you are not creating. Waiting convinces you that patience is virtue, but it quietly robs you of action. Each deferred choice slowly erodes your vitality until one day you realize that the years you expected to be plentiful are already behind you. This habit also makes you underestimate your own resilience and creativity. You think you need everything to be ideal, but life is never ideal. Waiting for later makes you ignore the power you already have to start now, even imperfectly. Every "I'll do it later" postpones learning, growth, and joy. You miss opportunities to explore who you are, to test your limits, and to savor the small moments that make life meaningful. Time spent waiting is time you cannot reclaim. Worse, waiting teaches you to measure life by rules you did not create. You believe obligations and circumstances dictate when you are allowed to be happy, fulfilled, or brave, but no one can give you permission to live. The world does not pause, and neither does your aging body or your passing energy. Each day you wait is a day of your life that silently disappears, leaving behind the regret of what could have been. The truth is that there is never a perfect later. There is only now, choosing yourself now, pursuing your passions now, and claiming your joy now is how you reclaim the years you might otherwise waste. Waiting may feel safe, but it steals your life in the quietest, most irreversible way. Start living before later becomes too late. Staying silent and enduring in the name of love or loyalty can feel like strength, but it is a quiet form of self-erasure. When you hold back your words to avoid conflict, when you swallow your feelings so others remain comfortable, you are not being strong, you are teaching yourself that your needs and emotions are less important than everyone else's. Endurance is often praised as virtue, but it is only a virtue when it is chosen freely, not when it becomes a habit of self-neglect. Over time, silence builds walls between you and your own heart. You begin to question whether your voice matters, whether your feelings are valid, and whether your presence is appreciated for who you are, rather than for what you provide. Many women are conditioned to believe that suffering quietly is honorable, that bearing hardship without complaint proves loyalty, love, and resilience. But enduring at the expense of yourself does not create love, it creates imbalance. Those around you may come to expect your endurance, taking your patience for granted. And even your own sense of worth becomes dependent on how much you can tolerate. You start to confuse tolerance with value, believing that if you endure enough, if you are silent long enough, your love will be recognized or rewarded. But love that demands your silence and sacrifices your voice is not love, it is control, manipulation, or neglect disguised as virtue. Silence and endurance also stunt your personal growth. Your opinions, desires, and boundaries are not being exercised. Your ability to assert yourself erodes. You stop expressing your needs, even to those who care about you, because you assume they are less important than maintaining peace or avoiding disappointment. Each unspoken word is a missed chance to teach others how to treat you, a missed chance to honor your own feelings, and a missed chance to live authentically. True strength is found in speaking your truth, even when it shakes the room. True love is found in relationships where honesty and mutual respect exist, not in silent suffering. Choosing to assert your needs, to express discomfort, to set limits, is not selfish, it is an act of courage and self-respect. Endurance is not a measure of your worth, your voice and your integrity are. When you finally stop confusing silence with strength, you reclaim your right to be seen, heard, and loved fully, without sacrificing your soul. You do not owe anyone perfection, only honesty. For most of my life, I believed that being good, flawless, and agreeable was the key to love, respect, and security. I tried to anticipate everyone's needs, hide my flaws, and present an image of a perfect woman at all times. I thought if I was perfect, people would never be disappointed in me, relationships would never fail, and life would always be smooth. But perfection is an illusion, a trap that slowly erodes your identity and keeps you from living fully. What people really need, and what you owe, is your truth, your authentic self, with all its messy, human edges. Honesty is not always easy. It requires courage to say no when your heart says no, to express fear when you feel scared, to ask for help when you are exhausted, and to share your dreams even when others may not understand them. Honesty demands that you set boundaries and speak your feelings, even if it risks upsetting someone or challenging their expectations. But this kind of honesty is liberating. It teaches others how to treat you, and it reminds you that your voice matters. Living with honesty, rather than perfection, allows you to engage with life fully instead of disappearing behind a mask that only exists for others' comfort. Perfection tells you to erase your mistakes, hide your doubts, and suppress your desires. Honesty tells you to embrace them, to share them, and to live with integrity. When you stop trying to be perfect, you start choosing actions that honor your values, your health, and your happiness. People who truly care about you will not reject you for being honest. They will respect you more because you are authentic. And those who cannot accept your honesty were never meant to shape your identity in the first place. Life is too short to be spent performing for applause or validation. You will never feel truly alive while trying to meet impossible standards. You will feel alive when you speak your truth, when you prioritize your needs, when you act in ways that honor yourself, and when you allow others to see the real you. Perfection is borrowed, temporary, and exhausting. Honesty is yours. It is enduring, freeing, and the only gift that guarantees you are living your life on your own terms. When you embrace honesty over perfection, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your soul. You finally learn that being fully yourself is not just enough, it is everything.